I knew it was coming. Right. I think we got a quorum. Let's call this meeting to order. Town of Cedar Point regular meeting Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. Everybody will stand for a moment of silence, and afterward we'll do the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, I hope everybody had a great Easter. Turned out to be a beautiful day. I ate too much. As usual. Everybody get their houses assessed in Cedar Point? Everybody's happy with it? I just check it. Mine's not pretty. Not pretty at all. Okay, has everybody had a chance to look at the agenda and the consent agenda?
Mayor, before a motion's made, I just want to remind the board that for the budget calendar, tonight was put on the calendar for the possible discussion about the budget if needed. So if anyone wants to see that added, that would be the time to speak up and ask that that be added.
Okay. Entertain a motion to approve with any changes you guys may want to add.
I'll make a motion.
Got a motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Unanimous. Thank you. Hey, David, Tree of Life bench proposal.
All right, the applicant had indicated that he would be here this evening. But I'll go ahead and present it to you. David and Lisa Roscoe are residents here in Cedar Point. They live at 101 Hopetown Court. And back in September of 2022, they lost their daughter, Gabriella. She went by Bella Roscoe. She was 16 years of age at the time. And they have asked if they could place a Tree of Life bench out at the park. They'd be willing to work with us to find an exact location. Well, they did specify closer to the pier over where that nice tree is that sits off to the side of the pier. Apparently Bella would go down there quite often and sit. Their property actually backs up to the park, so she spent a lot of time there in that location. So this is a picture of the proposed bench. They would take care of the cost of purchasing and installing it. So they're asking the board's approval for that, willing to work with us on a specific location if the board's in favor of it.
Any comments from the board?
Here's a couple of pictures of the general area.
Mayor, I'd like to say a couple things I was talking to David about. This is a great idea. In my past, this is a very popular thing. Once I think that we approve this or what direction we take, I feel like it's going to happen more. One of the things we need to be careful of is we need to be kind of consistent because everybody's going to have a different, bench look. One of the things we might want to consider is what do we do going forward? Do we keep it kind of traditional? Do we keep it kind of the same? That's just something to look forward to the future. This is a nice looking bench. We gotta keep in not only for the park, but other places around town too, and we need to keep that on our shelf to see exactly like what do we want to do going forward, with the being consistent, because once this happens, this is going to be a very popular thing. And, you know, kudos, you know, to the family. This is a great thing. Sorry for the loss, but that's just something we need to, you know, kind of consider going forward.
Anybody else? The only thing that bothers me about this bench, and it doesn't really bother me because I think it's a great idea. It's a fine idea. Like this one here evidently is under a shelter somewhat. But there is going to be some upkeep on this bench. And there's upkeeps on the one that Pam's son has built us, but it hadn't been a problem. It's very minimal upkeep. So I know, you know, you can paint this with different things that last quite a while. So I mean, if we have to do any of that, we just make sure we use the right stuff to back that down. But I'm gonna go ahead and entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve the request to place a tree life bench at the Boathouse Creek Park.
Got a motion on the floor. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. Come on, David, got a hearing, special use permit 2025-02. Request to allow street yard display consisting of golf carts at 305 Cedar Point Boulevard. I guess Sharon Murray is here to speak to this when we get ready tonight. Let's see. Ready?
All right, well, I will, as tradition, go through kind of the rules and overview of what takes place in a quasi judicial decision. So we will now open the evidentiary hearing for special use permit 2024, or I'm sorry, 2025-02. I'm a year behind still. This is a request for a special use permit for the outdoor display of golf carts at the property to be located at 305 Cedar Point Boulevard. The decision this evening will be made by a simple majority vote of the board. This hearing is a quasi-judicial evidentiary hearing. That means it is like a court hearing. State law sets specific procedures and rules concerning how this board must make its decision. These rules are different from other types of land use decisions like rezoning cases. The board's discretion is limited. The board must base its decision upon competent, relevant, and substantial evidence in the record. A quasi-judicial decision is not a popularity contest. It is a decision constrained by the standards in the ordinance and based on the facts presented. If you will be speaking as a witness, please focus on the facts and standards, not personal preference or opinion. Participation is limited. This meeting is open to the public. Everyone is welcome to watch, and parties withstanding have rights to participate fully. Parties may present evidence, call witnesses, and make legal arguments. Parties are limited to the applicant, the town of Cedar Point, and any individuals who can show they will suffer special damages. Other individuals may serve as witnesses when called by the board. General witness testimony is limited to facts, not opinions. If you plan on discussing impacts on property values and projections about impacts of increased traffic, you must be qualified as an expert and must provide the factual evidence upon which you base your expert opinion. Witnesses must swear or affirm their testimony. At this time, we will administer the oath for all individuals who intend to provide witness testimony. And Jane is not here this evening to help us administer the oath. Ask him a question for us.
Ask every question.
Is there anyone else that will speak on behalf of?
Yeah.
If you would come forward. Our testimony has to be sworn testimony.
Okay.
Is the mayor going to, the mayor can administer oaths? I'll ask the question, but on behalf of the mayor.
You're looking here, raise your right.
You solemnly swear to tell truth, whole truth, so help you God.
Yes,
I do.
I do.
Thank you.
Mayor nailed it.
Well, I've had some practice. About 20 years. Entertain a motion to open public hearing.
I have a little bit more I have to get through.
Okay.
Sorry.
Try to cut you off.
The parties to this case are entitled to an impartial board. A board member may not participate in this hearing if she or he has a fixed opinion about the matter, a financial interest in the outcome of the matter, or a close relationship with an affected person. Does any board member have any partiality to disclose and recusal to offer? Hearing none. The parties to this case have rights for any ex parte communications to be disclosed. Ex parte communication is any communication about the case outside of the hearing. That may include site visits as well as conversations with parties, staff, or the general public. Does any board member have any site visits to disclose? Hearing none. Does any board member have any conversations or other communications to disclose? Hearing none. At this time, we will open the hearing and I will present the application as presented. Supplied.
Motion.
I move we open the hearing for special use permit 2025-02.
Got a motion on the floor. All those in favor?
All right, this evening you received in your packet an application submitted by Rufus Murray. He's the owner of the property at 305 Cedar Point Boulevard. You'll notice here it was identified as zoned as R15M. When we did a little research, it's actually zoned B1. It is a business zoned district, not R15M. It is within a flood zone. Parcel identification number is provided as well as lot numbers there. The proposed use of the property would be place golf carts in front of the commercial building and out by the road. This would be a street yard display under our zoning ordinance, which requires a special use permit. In order to be granted a special use permit, the proposed use must comply with all applicable requirements set forth in the town's UDO. Additionally, following a hearing, the Town Board of Commissioners must find that all of the following standards will be met. The applicant is encouraged to provide written answers addressing each of the following standards prior to the formal hearing. Additional information, documentation, argument may be provided at the hearing to support your position that each of the following standards will be met. Those standards that the board must decide on are listed here. So as we discuss it afterwards, just remember, kind of tailor the comments and the discussions to each of these different standards. Standard A is that the proposed use conforms to the character of the neighborhood, considering the location, type, and height of buildings or structures, and the type and extent of landscaping on the site. The applicant responded, yes, it has been a commercial building with displays outside of the building and road. Standard B, that adequate measures will be taken to provide ingress and egress so designed as to minimize traffic hazards and traffic congestions on public roads. The applicant responded, yes, there will be no impediment of traffic or hazards to the road frontage or roadways. C, that adequate utilities, water, sewer, drainage, electric, etc. are available for the proposed use. The applicant responded, yes, there's adequate usage of water and drainage. It will remain the same. Standard D, that the proposed use will not be noxious or offensive by reason of vibration, noise, odor, dust, smoke, or gas. And the applicant responded, there will be no offensive or noxious use at this location, display purposes only. Standard E, that the establishment of the proposed use will not impede the orderly development and improvement of surrounding property for uses permitted within the land development district. The applicant responded, it will not impede any development and improvement of the property, display purposes only. Standard F, that the establishment, maintenance, and or operation of the proposed use will not be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, or general welfare. The applicant responded that the maintenance or operation of the proposed use will not endanger the public health or well-being. And standard G, that the use will be operated in compliance with all local, state, and federal laws and will not become a nuisance by creating criminal activity or public disturbance. To which the applicant responded, the building use will not become a nuisance or become a public disturbance. Was signed, dated, fees paid. On your screen is the site itself, just to give reference for you. It is located on Cedar Point Boulevard in between Cedar Lane and Palmetto Drive. It is to the west of the Salty Air Open Market. Building used to be used by a furniture business previously. Everybody remembers that. Included with it was a site plan showing proposed locations for some displays. I will add that subsequent to submitting this application, the tenant there has already started putting golf carts out front. Although I haven't seen them in these locations, they were further back behind the gravel surface. So my suggestion this evening would be if there are other display areas that need to be addressed, that is addressed and agreed upon by the board as well. So that we have a clear identification of those locations going forward. But that is the application as submitted and overview. I'm open to any questions, and Ms. Murray is here as well.
Sharon, you want to tell us what Rufus is doing over there, or you want us to just fire up at you?
Well, I can, run stand up.
Sure.
Here.
It'll record you a lot better if you stand
Okay.
here.
We think we hear you up here, but we really don't.
Well, that's all right. I'm Sharon Murray. I'm the co-owner of the 302 Cedar Point Boulevard. We purchased the property back in 2003. The previous owners had an upholstery shop and they displayed items out front and to the side of the building. Our last tenant was there from 2012 to 2025, almost 13 years. He displayed his couches out front and to the side. The new tenant has a golf cart business and he can display some to the side, but he would like to put some out front, right there in the front parking lot. Just so whenever people's riding by, they can see it. Because, people drive by that place fast anyway, even though it's 35. But most everybody has been there. I mean, it's commercial property. That's what we pay county taxes on, the Carteret County. They've displayed, the merchandise out front so people can see it. And, and would be respectful of your neighbors and everything. So that's pretty much what I'd like to, say tonight.
Okay. Anybody got any questions for Sharon?
Yeah, I got a question, Mayor. You see the open space behind behind the building?
Yeah, we own that lot
Yep.
too.
So the neighbors and the neighbors in there, is there going to be like stored golf carts in there eventually?
He didn't want that. We gave him an option if he wanted to, but he really didn't want it. He just wanted to store some like in the front or over to the, like if you're facing the building over to the right side, store some over there to the side.
That would just be my only concern is
I think he takes them at night and
Puts them inside. He
fills
does.
them inside that building. That
Well, he would
building
be
is
crazy
completely
not
full
to.
at night.
I'm just saying like future, let's say
Yeah.
let's say he gets a trade in. Somebody comes, hey, I like to trade one in. Next thing you know, it comes a dinosaur in the
I
back.
can't believe he fit them all in that building. He has
Yeah.
though.
But I mean, if you've ever seen a golf cart place, there's always
I don't think he wants he hasn't said anything about that. He wants to keep them contained from what he said to us. You don't want to have too many loose golf carts back there in the back. Because they can disappear for safety purposes.
Yeah.
So he wants to keep them inside.
Yeah, his display looked good when I went by. I'm just concerned, like, let's say 2 years from now and he's got 25 trade-ins. Where do they go?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, I'm just looking out
I know
for
what you're saying.
I'm just looking out for the owner behind it. That's all.
Well, we would step in then. We
Okay.
wouldn't want it to become like a little trash pile or whatever.
Gotcha.
Commissioner, one thing I would just make note, we've learned in the past, if it's not stated in special use as a condition, then you can't hold them accountable at a later date. So if it's a concern, it probably should be included in the either the approval or denial of this application.
Mayor, I'd like to include that just so we're,
We'll just do it when we get a motion.
Okay.
We're ways out from there.
yeah. I'm just,
Mayor, can I just make a statement here? Keep in mind that the purpose of this request is only to address storage of items in front of the building. So under our ordinances, they have the ability by right to display these golf carts on either side of the building, no closer to the front road than the front wall of that building. So they could set all the golf carts out here or back in behind it for display that they want under our ordinances as they're written. So,
And he's gonna have to keep some areas for people that want to pull in there to park too, so.
Yeah,
He's not gonna have it flooded down in the front.
I'm fine with all that. I'm just, you go by a golf cart place now and you look in the back and you see, go by John's golf cart down 58. Yeah, what do you see,
Yeah.
Gary? You see 100 golf carts, wheels off, tops off, that's just my only concern for the people that are behind that property. It looks good that I've seen the golf carts out there and I think it's a good spot for it.
Anybody else? Want to
Mayor.
bring,
I have a question. Sharon, this board has to make decisions based on sworn testimony. And that was explained by the town manager at the beginning of the hearing. Your husband submitted an application that has statements A through G. To your knowledge, are those statements true?
Yes, I helped him fill it out.
Thank you.
We worked together.
David, you want to bring those questions back up for me? That's what I was going to ask you.
I will, the one thing I would like to add, just, I haven't seen the golf carts set in these locations. The only concern that I would have from a town management standpoint would be any safety concerns with the sight triangles. If somebody's trying to pull up here on Cedar Lane to turn off, especially these right here, possibly being an obstruction to the view. If we could add language that, that the applicant's willing to work with us to address that issue when it arises, or if we want to address it this evening, however the board wants to deal with that. But I do see that as a potential concern by the residents that would live either down Palmetto or especially Cedar Lane, since the curvature of the road makes seeing up the road a little further, a little more difficult.
David, one question for you. I know that you're looking at symbols replicating carts. Would another way to look at it would be putting a number value or a not to exceed number of carts to be displayed in the front?
I mean, that would be in the board's discretion. From a safety standpoint, it doesn't matter so much as can people see past them and get out onto the road safely, would be the only concern I would have. But again, when I saw them before, they were all sitting in this area, not along the road frontage, and maybe they realized that was a concern. I don't know if you.
Yeah, I know whenever you're trying to pull out, you got to be able to see view, yeah.
I didn't know if you'd had any conversation with them about that or.
No, but I can tell them to be considerate about that. Cause I've stopped at businesses in Cedar Point and they would have like a little sign or storage trailer where I couldn't see to the left. And I asked them, can y'all bring the sign back a little bit?
Where he's putting them right now is working really well. I mean, he's putting to the right-hand side and he's putting to the left-hand side, and then he drives them down this side. And those carts are not in there raggedy, they're in there straight and orderly. And I don't know if that's him or that's Rufus. I've known Rufus a long time, and Rufus
No, that's the guy.
does
He's
not
real-
allow a mess
Yeah, he
anywhere.
doesn't.
If you see him, you ride by his place up there in Swansboro, he'll have him and his guys out there with rakes cleaning Highway 24. So he's going to keep that pretty clean. But again, back to what David said, if you're going to put some specifications on there, put them in there when you make your motion.
Right.
And then we still have to go through all those questions, and we got to prove each of those questions. You guys got to be happy with it. And anything there, but the drawings that he's made there, he hasn't done that any day. Because I've walked by there every day. I mean, I don't miss that carts right there. So Okay, I'm just gonna do just like we've done in the past. Has anybody on the board got any issues with A? And he's right, there's always been something out there in the past, but mainly inside the building, so it's nothing's changed there. B. And again, the only thing we're worried about sharing on that B is if he puts those carts looking at the building put them on the left-hand side, it's gonna block that view,
Yeah,
turning left.
yeah, well, I can, say
Yes.
something to him about that.
And he hasn't put them out there, he's been putting them further back.
Yeah,
I mean, if he continues to do that, I don't think he's gonna have any problem. C. I don't think I've ever seen any water gathered on that lot. D. E. F. And G. I think there'll be any disturbance there. Okay, no questions on that. Everybody's good with the questions? Okay. Any other questions for Sharon or David?
Or audience if they want to.
Yeah, I'm not. Anybody in the public have anything to say?
Before you do, we have to have you sworn in.
You swear to tell the truth, whole truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Just give us your name and address, if you will.
Gary and Darlene Cox, 116 Cedar Lane. The reason we came is because our concern about if they do put the golf carts up on the road there. We have a tough time getting out of Cedar Lane as it is. But when you put vehicles or golf carts with awnings and this kind of thing on top of them, or regardless of what they got to awnings on them, and they're sitting up on that road, even a bush can block your view enough time to get hit. You know, it's tough getting out of that street. Back when we came here, what, 13 years ago, it was not an issue. But now, my goodness, you gotta be pretty dang quick to get out of there. And then you gotta make that middle, in that middle lane. So, you know, if they can keep those golf carts back like they are now, we don't have the issue. If they start putting them on the road, there's gonna be accidents, I'm sure. I heard today, some lady almost got hit just coming out of our drive.
The horn blew from one street of Palmetto to Cedar Lane, and that was someone who lives on our street all the time.
Oh, I mean, she's in and out of all the time.
And we do have Airbnbs on our street, and the condos on the left are people who are not used to the area. They're not used to pulling in and out of there. We know how dangerous the intersection is. We like the business. It looks so good. You know, it's colorful. It's appealing. We have no problem. We're small business owners too. So yeah, and that's the only reason. I mean, if you could bring that diagram back up with the ones at the front, A and B are the only things, and our understanding was that
Right here, and you're trying to look back this way. There was a tree right here with a bush on it. Man, that caused.
That was
so many
bad.
problems. When you get to putting off,
We took that out.
you can't see, because the way that road comes in this direction, You can't see down there.
That's what I was talking to, where he puts them now is on the corner of the buildings.
Back here.
They are
But-
now, and our understanding was
But
that
the
the,
red dots, they really don't work for us either. If you put them on the left-hand side or the right-hand side, you
Right,
can't turn left or right out of those two
and
roads.
that's why we came, because
So
we
we'll-
thought it was proposing,
We'll,
that
we'll
to be
address
there.
that for sure.
okay, and we, and like. I
But he
said, we'd
had
like
been
to
putting
do
them out
that.
there, so he must realize it.
Okay.
Thanks.
Be able to see, it that's, you got to be able to see people out. I don't want, we're trying to prevent accidents before it happens, because it will happen.
They're kind of in that area. I've just
Yeah.
now drawn.
Yeah, yeah. That's pretty much where he's been putting them out. He's got quite a few, not enough to go back in that back lot, but he comes down the side. But I've got them in there nice.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Entertain a motion to close public hearing.
Making a motion to close public hearing.
Got a motion on the floor. All those in favor? All opposed? Unanimous, thank you. Any other questions from the board? And so I entertain a motion with any recommendations you want to put in.
Yeah, I think we need to put something in there in reference. I don't know exactly how we need to word it. I mean, I appreciate, you saying Rufus is clean. I know that and everything, but we just need to put something in writing. And John, thanks for bringing that up. What we need to say properly, I don't know, but something in regards to, we don't want it to become a dinosaur village in the back. You know what I mean? 3, 4, 5 years from now, we look at it and go, oh my goodness. So I'm open for suggestions on how to word it properly.
Do we need to get specific with the feedback?
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, that and the feedback.
How many feedback displays?
The difficulty you run into by trying to determine the feedback is not only the enforcement side of it and making sure that you're far enough back to handle the safety issue without being.
I think you can draw a schematic like David just did of where you want them. And that way you have it where you want it.
Can you just say basically not to create a traffic impediment?
Or in the side triangle, what really is. DOT says,
It's like triangle.
yeah, so this is of the road, this is that road, that's true.
Yeah, and it is based on the curvature of the road. We would have, in order to get the actual distance, I mean, that would be a DOT determination, but we could put that in there. Outside of any DOT specified site triangle for that location.
I mean, I don't have a problem with the thing itself, but I do think that we should address the traffic potential issue, because I know how hard it can be to pull out of the intersections in Cedar Point.
And those are all engineered calculations based on the curvature of the road and all that sort of stuff.
Their billboard there.
There,
But it's not right there.
It's close. Probably.
It's back, it's not right.
it's right here. On that corner.
Yeah.
It's high enough up where you can see under it too. isn't it?
Yeah, it's a.
All right, Jerry, we're ready for Wayne. All we gotta do is say everything we just said.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. For the record, no. Okay, well, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the hearing on the special use permit 2025-02 to request to allow a street yard display on a certain, what are we gonna call it? DOT approved triangle.
Outside of the DOT required site triangles.
Okay, DOT, all right, that'll work. And then I don't really know how we want to do the other one with the back. I mean, is everybody in agreement of that? You know, I think we need to put something in there in regards to, you know, where do we draw the line and say, all right, this is enough.
What David said is legal.
But we have to do it. Huh?
It's legal until it becomes a problem. Hearing that wrong.
No, we have to put something in writing, right? That we.
In order to approve the special use permit, any conditions that you impose have to be related to the request. And in this instance, specifically, the request is a street yard display in front of the building. I can let Neil speak to that further if he'd like to.
Well, I agree with that, but I wonder if it at least semi addresses Commissioner Riggs' concern if you put a stipulation on age of golf carts in front of the building.
I don't really know how, I mean. I want to make sure we're all on the same page here, that I just don't want it to be 5 years from now, we look back there and it's nothing but dinosaur golf carts, you know, that now takes the view from that house behind it, which I understand Rufus is very tidy, he's very neat, everything else, you probably will never let that happen. But what in the event of?
Well, give us something we can do.
I know what you're saying. You don't want a graveyard back there.
Yeah.
And I don't- I
If
don't-
David and Neil both can't give me nothing to
Junkyard.
say.
I know. I'm just trying to
I can't
wrap
give it
my.
you. I can't help you with
I
it.
mean, I don't disagree that none of us wanna see,
Mhm.
you know, a lot look like a dump of
Right.
junk, but I also don't know how to get to that on this
That's where I'm at.
I
because it's not related.
it may not be legal, but what gets to the core is not allowing storage in the rear, on the rear of the property. Now, I mean, I will defer to Neil and David if that is outside the purview of this special use permit. But that's what you're really concerned about is not so much the age of the golf cart. You are concerned about having excessive storage of golf carts in that lot.
Right.
It's outside the use of this permit.
Yeah.
But not it. Excessive storage is. That's not gonna have a definition.
Exactly.
Exactly, that's where I'm at. I mean, I just don't
And
really know how to.
You've got the boat dealership with a yard bristling full of new boats. Is that excessive storage? Boats. The in terms of what happens behind the structure, beside or behind the structure, it can't be a junkyard, or there are other ordinances that deal with it. And I would expect that every commissioner here and most members of the public would share a concern about unsightly storage of items, particularly near residential areas. And I wonder if the board takes this, not the special use permit, but takes the greater issue under advisement or send it to the planning board to start studying whether to put some screening restrictions on commercial properties that back up to residential properties just for aesthetic purposes, if you will. But separate from
This,
this special use permit.
yeah, I agree.
Because the question is a greater question.
So I'm gonna go back and say, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the special use permit 202502 with the restrictions of the DOT triangles for the spacing off the road for safety purposes. We will address the other, I guess, at a later date.
Got a motion on the floor. All
Aye.
opposed? Hearing none, it's passed. Thank you. Have Rufus and that guy come by here and see David, or call him, and we'll just, so they can hear our concerns up front, including Jerry's concerns.
I have a meeting scheduled May 1st with some DOT reps. So I'll address that issue with them as far as the site triangle in that meeting. So we'll have some fixed data to use going forward on that.
Well, I know what you're talking about on visibility, because like I said, most of the time, whenever you let somebody know, you call the store and say, I can't see, you know, they will respond back, we wanted the truck, whatever. So you got to be able to see, and the really. I mean, we don't have a gauge. But I mean,
Well, it's probably something we need to put a change in there to put, like Neil said, and have some kind of buffer in there. I mean, if you go to my house, there's no buffer in between me and the shopping center at all, except curb. People actually pull up to the curb and throw trash in my yard. So there's just nothing. I mean, there's just nothing there. And I planted 10 trees, cedar trees in there, and Florence tore them all down. So there you go.
Yeah, and we do have buffer requirements when you're making a change of use. In this particular instance, the guy was selling couches and now they're selling golf carts. So it's retail to retail. So under our code of ordinances, there was no change of use that would trigger a need to put in a landscaping buffering against the residential. But if it were some other use going in there, you know, there would have to be some plantings going in at the rear of that property.
Yeah.
Golf carts a little bit taller than couches, so.
Yeah. Yeah. He's doing a good job keeping it straight up there.
Yeah, it looks
But you
good.
never know what's going to happen.
It looks good.
All right, Sharon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, David, commercial site plan, Riptide car wash.
All right, inside your packet is the commercial site plan for Riptide Car Wash. The application's there. The applicant's here this evening to speak on it. It is proposed to be located at the intersection. I have a good map in there, sorry. Let me just pull up my GIS, pull it over here. It is proposed to be located on the intersection of Cedar Point Boulevard and Old Highway 58 at 1203 Cedar Point Boulevard. So this is the Truist Bank. Here's the 2458 intersection. This is Bojangles, and the proposed location for the car wash would be on this lot here, shown as lot 5. What you have included in your packet is both a site plan as well as some architectural renderings of the proposed facility. And we can walk through as much detail or as little as you all want to walk through. I do know that the applicant has prepared a presentation for you on the architectural side of it. Whenever you're ready to hear that from them, I've got it pulled up.
Only if you guys need to. I'm more than happy.
It did go through the planning board. There was some discussion about a discrepancy between the submitted plans at that time and our ordinances with regard to the right side or the east side of the property, if you will. They were showing this side adjoining Highway 58 as being a buffer yard, where technically it is a street yard, because on the other side of the chain link fence there is DOT right of way. So that is a road. At some point, DOT could remove all those trees, at which point it would be an exposed side to the road there. So that changed this landscaping on this side to a street yard landscaping as opposed to buffer. They did continue to add some plants here at planning board's request and mine, quite frankly, underneath the billboard that's right there, that digital billboard. They kind of help obscure some of that. You will see on it, this is the landscaping plan, so you see the street yard landscaping all the way around. And then they proposing a type A buffer here along the rear of the site. Now it does, just so you know, the entrance to this car wash splits the property line between this lot and the adjoining lot. So it would sit directly centered on this property line here. So that would be for future shared access with whatever development would come into the north of this property. As you look at the site, you would enter from Old Highway 58, heading towards 58. And then there's 2 lanes of stacking going to the 2 pay, or looks like 4 pay kiosks there. May just be 2. Just 2. Here you can see the stacking of cars along that side. Here's the dumpster enclosure. It would be completely enclosed per our requirements with matching materials to the site. But then once you go through the pay kiosk, then you could enter into the car wash facility itself, exit the west side, and then enter in over here to the vacuuming and detailing section before exiting back out towards the entrance. This open area here would be primarily grass, septic system, underground septic equipment type stuff, but stay open for the most part with your buffer that'd be along this line. The equipment is shielded from view and to reduce the noise as specified in the text amendment that was adopted, I think late last year. Yeah. As well as I'll point out on the site plan, the additional landscaping at the tunnel exit right here to reduce some of the noise impacts from the blowers on the outbound side of the drive-through. One thing that's kind of harder to notice on this, I'll point out to you, is on the, is that the best one to show? Maybe this one. I'll zoom in a little more. There is a proposed canopy to cover these parking spaces here, but not the ones directly up against the building. And so it would have a similar roof type as the main structure, just a slanted roof there. The colors and design palette is something that they can go into more detail. They tried to design it in such a way that it fits with the area, some of the other existing buildings that we have there. Sorry, it's taking a little long to get back up to architectures here. This side at the top would be the one facing Cedar Point Boulevard. This side in the lower left-hand corner would be the side facing Old Highway 58. Bottom right would be facing Highway 58. And then the one here in the middle would be what would be facing Tractor Supply. My understanding is the windows will appear to be glass, but they are not visible to the inside of the car wash. Correct. So they're more of an architectural feature, more so for the soap scum and all that can accumulate on the inside. Constant maintenance nightmare. Tried to design it in accordance with our central business overlay district requirements to create a scale suitable to pedestrians, so not overly, oversized. And then adding some colors, more of the muted tones, which our central business overlay district calls for, with a little splash of color with that blue score lines that would be cut into I believe that's ephes in those areas. Like a stucco exterior insulation finish system. The planning board did give a favorable recommendation on the approval with those changes. And I'm open to any questions that you have, and of course, the applicants here as well.
I think, like we said last time, you guys have really went above and beyond trying to make this building not look like a car wash. And we And we appreciate that, the effort in your landscaping and all that stuff. I think we talked about stacking and stuff the last time. I think you're where you're gonna be. I think you just gotta see how busy you're gonna get and go from there when you get stacked. I mean, I seen the one in Swansboro last week was stacked out to the road. And that doesn't happen there often. They got room too, so you're gonna have your moments, I'm thinking, and hopefully you do. So yeah, you'll be busy. Any questions from the board?
What was the consensus on hours of operation?
We're allowed to operate between 7 AM and 9 PM.
And that's fine. You know, it's just my own personal opinion. Probably, you know, a good start time would be around 8 o'clock, 8 AM.
That's usually when
And then normally shutting down, you know, between 8, 9 PM at the latest.
I go back on what Mayor said. I was involved with this early on on the planning board still, and this group has gone beyond, I think, to make it work for Cedar Point. I think when maybe September, October last year, they brought it to us because I think there was some changes that needed to be made for the planning board. And I think they've done everything we've asked, so I appreciate, you guys always coming back with the answers that we asked for you to make some changes. And I appreciate that. And, I think everything I've heard has been positive. So, thank you.
Thank you. I mean, I do want to say thank you to all of you for being here, but also kudos to David. He's helped us a lot through this process. It really has been a pleasure working through this, and we're looking forward to getting it across the finish line and getting it built.
Any other questions? Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the commercial site plan for the Riptide Car Wash.
The motion on the floor, all those in favor?
All
right.
All opposed? Unanimous, thank you.
Commissioners, thank you, Smith.
Thank you. Okay, Lieutenant, come up and explain to me all about this traffic.
Good evening, all y'all. Summer's coming and they're back. That's I can tell you. Traffic volume coming through here is almost double already. And they're already headed for the beaches. Highway patrols, I'm sure you've seen, are down in the area, so are county deputies. And we're running traffic.
Yeah, I see highway patrol in Cedar Point every day for the past
Yeah.
couple of weeks.
Yes, sir.
So,
And we're trying to slow them down, and we'll slow them down, the ones we stop. But traffic's picking up. Summer's here.
and it's just not, the speed out there is crazy, don't get me wrong. But people are just reckless.
Yes.
I mean, they pass in center lane, they turn everywhere they want to turn. I mean, they can see you, they don't care.
And some of the problem is people coming out from the side streets.
Yeah.
They're jetting out so fast in front of cars, and the cars coming, if they're exceeding 45, there's gonna be an issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's stuff. I tried to tell him I turned with Swansboro Light, but it's got where that doesn't work all the time. It's Saturday morning, you can give it up.
Other than that, Mr. Mayor, everything going forward, and we're doing good in Cedar Point.
Stay safe.
Well, thank you.
Mayor, on the traffic issue, I'd like to add, just so the board's aware, we received 2 complaints, one over the weekend and one today, of traffic issues at the Bojangles intersection. And it's something that I'm planning on reaching out to NCDOT about when I talk to them on May 1st. The number of people that are trying to make a left-hand turn into the Bojangles on the Bridgepoint Circle, basically. Some of them are going to Bojangles, some of them to the new subdivisions of Bridgepoint, Bridgeview, and some going to the RV park. And because there's no green arrow and drivers are blocking the intersection, residents have complained of sitting through that traffic light for 4 and 5 cycles just to try to get turned left.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, it's bad.
And
It literally is a nightmare.
I don't know if there's any signage that can be added not to block it, or if, if you have conversations with our highway patrol friends about,
There is a general statute of blocking the intersection, failing to stop where appropriate, where those big wide white paints on the ground, you're required to stop there. I've actually issued 3 citations for them blocking the streets at Bojangles, because it does get bad. So, and same thing at 24.
But that light is not right.
They need an hour. That's not about it.
Yeah, they need a controlled turn there.
The other issue that I have, and I guess it's definitely not Mark, is the folks who are coming from Cape Carteret who pass that intersection and they're trying to make a left turn into Go Gas. And that's actually striped for a turn going the other way. So they're technically, I think they're making an illegal turn,
They are,
but it's not marked.
yes, sir. It is an illegal turn, but I'll sit there all day stopping cars doing that.
I know,
But yeah,
but it's also a dangerous situation.
yes, sir.
Oh, it is.
And it's gonna get worse as summer comes. You've got people trying to go gas, you got people trying to get into Bojangles. And like the town manager saying, traffic signals are not accommodating for people turning left into Bojangles. There is no turn area. So, it's a fight to get across there. And people don't have courtesy to stop and let people go. So they just get in the middle of the intersections.
Is there any possibility that we could get those, like at the high school, there's the yellow things that tell you don't go here?
We could try and get them, yes, ma'am.
They're not huge, they're just, but right there to keep them from turning into, Go Gas from that direction.
We could try and get them, yes, ma'am, we'll put them up. I think DOT's got to approve that, because that would change traffic
Check with them.
flow.
if that's something that the board has.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah.
Because that's a really scary spot, and I myself have been coming at it from the right direction.
Yeah.
And had someone just nearly T-bone me as I was going in there, so it's kind of scary.
Yeah, DOT would give us it and they'll approve the traffic flow. We'll get them out there if that's what y'all want.
I can add that to the list.
Yeah.
My name first.
I'll be glad to move that intersection.
Yeah, I think,
Yeah.
would too.
I think the intersection would.
It'll help.
Yes, it would.
Sure.
I mean, it can't hurt to ask. We're desperate, we're in need of safety in
I
that
think the
situation.
arrow will be an easy win there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the light.
The arrow would help.
Well, I think all they'll have to do is kind of reassess the situation with all the new houses that are back in there and start figuring out, if you have the option to turn at a light, that's your best option. So the number of cars going in and out there has significantly increased. That would warrant
There's a lot
making a
of
change.
There's a lot of cars back in there now. Got all the houses and apartments right there. It's
And we can get
changed
those
quite a bit.
barriers, we can get the word out to the public. You can't turn there anymore. And that might help us.
All right, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, David.
All right, a couple of updates for you. Jane, as I'm sure you all know, her mom had passed away. And so she's been out. She will return to the office next Monday, the 28th. We did send flowers and she's been very appreciative. Some good news in case you didn't hear. The Carteret County Board of Commissioners hired Sharon Griffin as our new county manager last night. I think that's a win for the county. I think it's a great thing. The discussions I've had with Sharon, very capable, and I think that's a good choice. Just received notice today that FEMA is discontinuing the BRIC program altogether. So all the discussion that we had previously about the BRIC program and possible use for residents.
Yeah.
To align with some FEMA funding realignments. They've decided to completely stop the program for this next fiscal year and also stop all projects, even if they had been awarded, as long as the funds hadn't transferred to the states yet, they've canceled all those that they've previously acknowledged as being grant recipients. So, we wound up not having to spend a whole lot of time on that unnecessarily. So that's a good thing. But that program no longer exists at this point in time. They will be looking at restructuring something similar. It may have a different name at that point. With the largest issues on that being the timeline that everybody was complaining about, making it to where that program is more tailored to actually solving the issues of where there's flooding issues, and then also making sure that the houses, the timeline from award to finish construction is a lot shorter. So.
Yeah, that's the problem.
The planning board at their next meeting will be looking at a text amendment to allow neighborhood signage in a B3. I think it's something that nobody really thought much of when the sign ordinances were drafted. And the request is actually coming from the developers here of the Bridgepoint townhouses, that they just want to put a monument sign right there to let people know that this is their townhouses. And for whatever reason, that particular sign type's not allowed. So I don't think it'd be a big concern, but that is something that's pending. That's the only thing pending before the planning board at their next meeting. We have had a request from a resident to install some no parking signs at the end of Bell Street. So when you go down to the end of Bell, there's no turnaround down there. There's actually a no parking sign right here at the end of the street. You can kind of see the shadow of it right there underneath the diamond. But people are parking up and down both sides of the street, creating issues with the ditches, with the yards there. And most especially right here, we do have a fire hydrant that they're parking in front of from time to time. So just want to make sure it's okay with the board before we put up some no parking signs in that area. Unless you have any objections, then we'll move forward with that.
Why are they parking there?
Kayak,
I'm sorry.
kayaking.
So according to the pictures that were sent in, some of them were simply just sitting down here in their beach chairs on the waterfront. And some of them are parking there and visiting some of these houses down Waterway Drive, because it's easier to get in and out from here than it is to go all the way down Hill Street and then down Waterway Drive, which is an area.
When I went down there the other day, there was four trucks down there with kayaks on back to back. And we ran into that a long time ago, and I thought we tried to address that issue because the guy, you can see, remember he put the post down the side up there, and
Well, we put those 3 signs down there, the end they were driving down there. That's why you see 3 of them.
I mean, they were lining up down there. You'd think the ferry was down there running again and dropped back so far. So, I mean, it's a lot clearer than it was, but I mean, that's what I see down there. And I hadn't seen anybody sitting on the beach, and I probably walked that loop right there. And I told you, I probably walked that loop 4 or 5 times a week. So, and I know I'll talk to John about it. That's where I walk. That's where we walk now. So.
All right.
But I mean, you could put a sign there. Just don't put one in my yard. I don't want a sign in my yard.
Yeah, I mean, it's something else for them to mow around since they can maintain
exactly.
those areas. But they are the ones requesting it, so.
Yeah, we've run into it before, and I thought we'd come up with something. We never done it. We didn't do nothing.
He had a road fence or something.
He did right there. You can see the post still there starting, but it went on down. It went down further down.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah,
It is still there here?
The posts are still there. You can see them on this picture.
Still there.
Sam Meadows had a problem with those posts there and wanted them removed because that's town right away. Remember?
Yep. You can even see the rope connecting up there.
I don't think the rope is there anymore, just a post.
All right. Next thing, in case you didn't notice, I mentioned it, that it would be taking place here in the near future, and it in fact started today. And that is the clearing of the second 5 acres by Carter Health, the hospital. So if you'll recall, let me go back to the current photo. These 5 acres were previously cleared for the construction of a hospital facility. And they began today clearing out this 5 acre tract beside of it. They did have their sedimentation erosion control permit, and we previously issued that zoning permit for them for the clearing. They will be maintaining a buffer along the rear of the property to match the one that's at the rear of these 2 parcels here, even though we have no requirement for that. They're going to do that to keep it uniform in that area, provide a little more buffer for these residents. Keep it all natural through there. So if you do hear people asking about it, that is what's going on. They do have a permit for it. They don't have any plans for development that they've submitted at this point, just the clearing, which they can do.
So I saw Paul started back on his building. They got a permit now, I guess.
Yep.
Good.
The issue that we've had with the beavers here on Sherwood Avenue, we did find a group to handle that for us. Cost on that will be $1,800. They will remove the beavers and open the dams up. So they anticipate that taking about 2 weeks to get that done. And will let us know. He said let me know once they feel like they've trapped all the beavers, and then he'd let me know when they break the dams. So hopefully we can take a look, get some video or something of it, because there's a lot of water being held back.
Somebody went in there and tried to open some of that up.
They did, yeah.
That Tom guy over here.
And in fact, I had reached out to the secretary of the HOA. We'd been in contact with her about this project, and just to ask them not to go in there and disturb it while he has the trap set. Hoping that they don't disturb the little fella until he get caught.
I found 2 turtles on the road the other day, and I put them in there. That's why I went back in there.
Probably a turtle heaven back there.
We have begun advertising for the public works position. So if you know of anybody looking, that word is going out. So send them our way. And then just wanted to mention the Easter egg hunt that took place. It was a big success. We had 4,000 eggs and a couple hundred kids out here. They certainly took home more candy than their parents probably would have wanted them to, since it was a little cooler and windier that day. But it was still a good event, and got nothing but positive feedback from everybody that was out there. So I want to thank the homeschool beta club students. They came out and helped not only stuff eggs, but showed up on the day of the event, wore the bunny costume, distributed eggs,
Nice.
made snow cones and popcorn. So they were really an asset to us that day.
You had a party, didn't you?
We had quite a party. The last thing that I have for you, and I couldn't get it in time for your agenda packet, but something that we had talked about before, which is the crosswalk on Sherwood Avenue to connect the gym property over to the Western Park property. So generally in this vicinity right here, there's an opening into the wood line. So come out of our gym property parking lot. With the, let me pull it up here on the screen for you. That's the actual. With the lighted flashing push button crosswalk, they are connected without any cables. So as you push one, it triggers both of them. The cost would include 2 of them, one on either side of the road, with lights and signage on both sides. They would both be solar powered, so we don't have to worry about electricity having to be running through them. And the cost for that setup, materials we would still have to install, which the installation is basically no more than putting in a signpost. We would have some street striping and that sort of stuff to go along with it. And of course, we talked about putting pavers as a walkway between the two. But as far as this portion of it, total cost is $5,487.03. It is something that we did put in the budget for this year. So it's not an unbudgeted expense. But before I move forward with that purchase, I want to obtain the board's consent.
Everybody okay?
Yes.
All right, that's all I have for you. Open to any questions?
Thank you, David. Jake's not here. Open floor to the public. Anybody got anything? Nice to see you, Brad.
Yeah.
Good to have you.
Thank you.
I ain't seen you in a long time.
Had some health issues,
Yeah.
knee problems. Some stuff. Trying to get back in law.
Old age ain't easy, buddy.
Oh, I thought it would be.
It's all the stuff you did when you were younger.
We've kept the table for you.
Still have a little trouble walking, like that. Close to close.
I got you.
Well, that's good to see you.
Yeah, I just need to put more active.
Always welcome here.
Good to see you too, Marion.
You.
It's an honor.
Glad to see you. You laid out on us a couple times there.
You made it with a foot problem. There you go.
It's good.
Thanks. No, it's a pleasure. I think you will be, I know David has already had an increased amount of communication with Sharon.
She's gonna be awesome. She's miles apart from where it was.
Yeah, so, we've got Frank Rush coming the 1st of June. We've got, the 1st of May, Gene Foxworth's gonna take over at, Cape Carteret. Matt Zapp, 1st of May over in Beaufort. So I think the moving chairs have all gotten in position in preparation for budget.
Did the almighty shuffle.
Yes,
They did.
yes, we do.
Well,
Thank you.
I think all the towns would benefit off of it. It's good moves. Good solid moves. Neil, you got something to tell us tonight? We ain't seen you in a long time either.
It has been a while. Mayor, I do, but we have to do it in closed session.
Okay, we're gonna have one of them too. All right, Frankie.
I'm really having to, appreciate everybody's effort on the budget. Pretty painless this year.
It always is, man, since David's been here.
isn't it?
John.
I'm fine, Mayor, thank you.
Condolences to Jane. Thank you for the good work on the budget. Look forward to seeing how our hiring process goes.
Gary?
I'm good for everything.
Gary?
I'm good.
You sure?
Yeah, I'm fine. You don't want me to be good?
Well, we have a closed session tonight, so we're gonna have to
Thanks.
tell you all farewell for tonight. Thanks for coming out. Anybody need a break before we get started?
Depends how long we go.
Depends on how long
All right,
it takes.
I'm going to stop our recording
Yes.
and then start a new Zoom meeting. So give me just a moment so that I can, and the only reason for that, there'll be nobody on it. Just so that we have a recording of it.